Hi guys, Rafi here. We just wanted to take some time and go over all of our suspension offerings for our Lexus lineup and just show you what the differences are, some new stuff we just released and some stuff we have coming out, and just go over some of the differences and answer any questions that we typically get on a daily basis. So the first thing I wanted to start with is just our sort of standard coilover setup. It's our somewhat of a budget system where it's in that $1,500–1,600 price point. And what you get is you get a really high quality silver shock. It is adjustable on top. And with every order, you get a one-on-one consultation, and we call you, we discuss what your needs are as far as spring rates, if you're doing track or just street, if you want it to be more comfort oriented. And we use either Hypercoil or Eibach race springs, obviously like really high quality stuff. In the front, on most of our coilovers, certainly for the ISF and the RCF and the GSF, we use helper springs. And that's really important because with these type of shocks that have an adjustable length, it is important to fix this length so that when you adjust the height of the shock, you don't cause the shock to bottom out too high. And normally, if you just adjust the length of the shock with the bottom adjuster here, by adjusting the length, one of the things you run into is if you lower the car, your wheel will start rubbing the fender liner. So it's better, especially in the front, to adjust the shock using this lower perch, and that's one of the reasons that we use helper springs. Another advantage of these shocks is they have industry-leading warranty, which is 18 months, which is really great because anything happens to these in a year and a half, and you're taken care of. This is actually something new. This is kind of our mid-range. We have a new setup. We actually haven't even announced it yet, so this will be the first time, where it's the same type of shock as our Road&Track version 2, but we added this adjuster here, an external canister. And what that does is it allows you to adjust compression and rebound separately. And it just gives you that added adjustment, like if you do a lot of track, you might want to increase rebound dampening, for example. If you go in drag racing, you want the car to really squat, and you don't want to drive like that every day, but this is something you might want to do. You can also tailor it to exactly how you want the car to drive. So some people are just really particular, don't want it to be bouncy, want it to be comfortable. Gives you a lot more adjustability. So this is going to be something totally new. We don't have pricing just yet, but we'll announce it soon. Now, our top of the line stuff is the Penske. We've been doing this for a while, and we have a lot of customers that track with these. This really is sort of the best of the best. We're really proud of the fact that it's made in the US, actually right here in Reading, Pennsylvania. The shocks, that is. They are double independent adjustable. So you got the rebound adjustment up here, and you got the compression adjustment up here. And also, we use helper springs. Fully articulating upper spring perches. So you can see that the upper perch is independent of the spring perch. And that means that as the shock moves, the spring doesn't bend. So that gives a much more linear force on the shock absorber itself, which is better just in terms of the response and of the shock. They're also a lot lighter. It's all aluminum construction. Probably saves you around 25–30 pounds versus a more conventional coilover. Another advantage of these is we can service these in-house. So if you ever need them rebuilt, as long as you give us a heads up, we can usually get it done in 1 or 2 days and get it back to you, which I don't think many shops, can claim that. So that's basically our coilover lineup. And next we're going to go over our other parts. Alright, so we're back and we're going to look at some of our other suspension offerings for our Lexus lineup. And I'm going to start with what we call the Ultimate Steering Response System. This is something we came out with, it's probably over 5 years now. And I'm going to start with our street version. The street version has a softer bushing, a polyurethane bushing inside. And it's really meant for people who want to reduce inner tire wear on their cars, but don't want the super sporty ride and are very sensitive to noise, vibration, harshness. Not to say that our other USRS offerings are harsh in any way, but it's for somebody who's going to be more sensitive to those type of things, who's not going to necessarily take their car to the track. And also we recommend the softer bushing for all-wheel drive applications on the IS300, IS350 RC models as well. Now, the red bushing here is a harder durometer bushing. This is our sort of classic model that we did going way back over 5 years ago. And what I like to emphasize is that this is not just a replacement bushing. So it's not that we simply took the stock soft bushing, replaced it with a harder bushing. The important thing here is that we completely changed the design in terms of the way this bushing works. So you will notice that this bushing has a very big thrust washer here. And this washer prevents the axial movement of the suspension. When the suspension arm, the lower suspension arm moves axially this way, this is the front of the car, that's the rear of the car, it creates a toe-in, toe-out condition, which changes the toe. And especially when you're on the track or you're driving very aggressively, you'll find that you'll actually find the car hunting around, not necessarily precise in terms of the steering inputs. It might wander a bit as well, especially when you go with really aggressive tires or R compound tires at the track or in very aggressive street use. So this model has the harder bushing, but it's still totally streetable. It also comes with our lifetime guarantee on the bushing itself. So if this bushing cracks, somehow fails, which we haven't had any issues like that, but if it does, you just let us know, we'll send you a new bushing. And this is all totally rebuildable and replaceable. Our newest offering in terms of our ultimate steering response system is the hard bushing. So this particular model is our race version. It has a bearing inside. Now you'll notice it still has this red polyurethane material here, and that's just to seal. That's just to keep like the really harmful contaminants, water spray, occasional water spray from impacting on the bearing. So it's just a layer of protection. It doesn't do anything other than that. All of our USRS bushings have come with the housing, and the housing has these preload bolts. Now, in the case of the USRS with the bushings, those preload bolts are meant to preload the washer so that there's some tension against it. With our race bushing, the purpose of these bolts is to keep the housing from slipping under really extreme use. So if you don't have this, you will actually see the housing migrate backwards under very heavy braking. And that is because the front bushing on the control arm is not solid, and it will allow that control arm to migrate backwards. And by the way, these are still totally streetable. We've been selling these all year, and we haven't had any complaints of excessive harshness. But if you're somebody who's very sensitive, you might want to go with the other models. If you want that sort of hard-edged, extract everything out of your car and really have a lot of feedback and really want your ISF or RCF or GSF to feel like a real sports car, I would personally go with these. Now the latest product we came out with this summer is our ultimate upper control arm. And this product allows you to do two things. First of all, by adjusting these two spherical bearings, you can adjust the camber. Especially when you go to the track, that's important, because typically on the street you'll run about 1 degree camber, maybe a bit more. But at the track, you want to run 2 degrees, 2.5, sometimes even 3 degrees of camber, especially if you're running race tires. That will both save your tires and improve your performance. Now, the other advantage of this particular arm is, while it allows you to adjust the camber, it also maximizes the amount of caster that you have. So the caster is how much lean back you have on the upper suspension arm. And that influences how much camber you gain when you turn the wheels. So the more caster you have, the more lean that you have, when you turn your wheel, you actually gain camber. That means that you don't need as much static camber when your wheels are pointed straight, and you can run them with less static camber, but when you turn, you're gaining more camber when you turn in your wheels. So that improves your tire wear, actually improves braking as well, because if you don't have to run as much static camber, your tires are more flat to the ground and have better contact with the ground. And of course, it improves tire wear as well. One of the other side benefits of having more caster is you'll feel more weight in your steering wheel, which feels good because it gives you more feedback. The steering is not as light. So these arms also, just like all of our products that we make, is made in the USA, which we're really proud of. These are 100% 6061 billet construction. The ball joint here is totally replaceable. You just remove this cap, lightly press this out. It's a Japanese-made ball joint. Again, very easy to replace. And again, 100% billet, CNC, 6061 construction. These are really strong. We've had it on our ISF track car, and we were slamming the curbs up at Watkins Glen with these things, and they perform flawlessly. We even cracked the windshield on this one, and that's just a testament to some of the testing that we do of our products, and we hope you'll love this. And that's pretty much it. Thank you.